Hi, I'm Dusty with Flame Innovation. We're talking about the Mini-Me pellet today. We've got it lit and got it going. Please have a look at our other informational videos. People ask a lot of questions about how this stove operates. We have people calling us asking questions on what type of pipe the stove takes, what type of pellets to burn in it, burn time, can I clean my glass when while the stove is running, how do I shut it off, so on and so forth. So we just want to answer some questions that come to mind to me from people that have called in the past. See, I've got my little helper Lexi here with me. Let's just take you here really quick. When the stove is going and you're really burning hot and whatnot, you might get some times where the stove, what we call wafting, where the stove, you'll actually hear this noise of the lid kind of shaking. That'll go away in just a little bit. That's just part of, we got a brand new clean fire pot. We've got brand new pellets. We've got all the oxygen we need, and we've got our right pellet pipe installed. And so the stove will burn like that for a little bit, and then it'll go away on its own. So it's nothing to be alarmed about. One quick question that comes to mind is when people call and they say, hey, I'm not getting any flame. I have just a red glowing pile of pellets in the bottom, and there's absolutely no flame. You can fix that. You'll get a fire poker tool with your stove. You can, watch out there, Lex. You can simply open the door if even when it's burning here like this, you just open the door if you've got that red pile of pellets. And I just simply tap on the pellet adapter on the side of it, just like this, and you'll hear the pellets come down through. What happens, and it's oftentimes within the first 15, 20 minutes of burning, is when you pour your pellets into the hopper here and they neck down into the pellet adapter, it's like joining your fingers together. Pellets can kind of jam in there. It doesn't always happen. Happened to me the other day, first time in, I don't know, 3 weeks or more. And then sometimes it'll happen one day and it happened the next, and then it won't happen for a month again. So there's just a lot different about pellets. Long lengths, little tiny, 1/8-inch pieces. We've had some that are really long. Some of those we keep up here just to show people. They're just extremely, long pellets. Even though I'm holding that in my finger, they're over 2 inches long, and you're not supposed to get pellets that long. So it was just a little bit of a manufacturer's defect. That happens when their dies that make the pellets get worn out. They're supposed to notice by looking at the bags that they're getting longer pellets, and then they switch out the dies and go back to making pellets again. So show you how I clean the glass here. Normally your glass will just get gray during the day. You can see it's just got a little bit of a color change to it right now. It doesn't get much dirtier than that. If your glass is getting sticky, creosote filled, or dark black, things like that, that's a sure tail sign that the stove isn't burning hot enough. This stove has to burn hot enough so that your pellets keep feeding, and you get the right amount of air in there to keep the stove burning. So while we're running here, I can reach in with my razor blade and I can clean off this glass here like so. You don't have to shut the stove off. Now, if you're going to have the door open for any length of time, you want to put in your pellet shut-off tool. It slides right in here at the bottom of the hopper. It has a line across here that you see. So when you slide it in there, just look for that line, make sure that it's all the way in, touching the frame of the stove. Then you'll know that you've got it in place so that it'll do its job. The reason you'll slide that in is if you're getting ready to head off somewhere and you still have a half full or 3/4 full hopper, you can let it, there's a way to shut it off. So you just let it burn out. You leave your damper over here where you have it set, and it takes about an hour from your pellets from here down into the fire pot to burn out. And then the stove will stay hot for probably another hour or so. It weighs about 110, 115 pounds with the brick fire pot. It's very easy to work on and clean. when you go to clean it. The stovepipe, we recommend a minimum of 10 feet of stovepipe. That'd be a combination of the 4-inch single wall and the 4-inch Class A. Let's talk about Class A pipe, which is actually a chimney pipe. It's not a pellet pipe. 4-inch Class A pipe has a 6-inch outside diameter, and it is actually insulated with full-on insulation. It's not just an air insulator. If you go to the store and say, I need a insulated 4-inch pipe, they might sell you pellet pipe. And pellet pipe, there's just a gap between your inner layer and your outer layer. That's technically not insulated. Pellet pipe is made for pellet stoves that have a combustion blower, what we call a combustion blower on the back or the inside side of the stove. People will go out the side of the stove, they'll go out a sidewall, or maybe they go up 4 or 5 feet, then they go out and they put a little cap on the outside. They can do that because they've got a plug-in, they got a computer, they've got auger motors, they got proof of fire, they got thermocouples, they got temperature switches, all this stuff that controls the stove. And when that fan blows the exhaust out, you don't need an insulated stovepipe. Plus, you don't have any pellet pipe outside. Pellet pipe gets cold when it's outside. You never see pellet pipe outside. It's not the right thing to install. With a non-electric stove, like a wood stove, or maybe somebody else has got a non-electric pellet stove, you've got to use a pipe that's rated to hold the heat. It's safety rated, and it holds the heat so that the stove can actually draft. So there's a fresh air intake on the back of this stove. You can bring in from the sidewall. It uses a 3-inch pipe. That'll bring in outside combustion area or air if you're in a tiny space. And say you're in an RV. RVs oftentimes are more airtight than a lot of homes because you've got rubber strips around your windows. They don't have soffit overhang, so when it's raining in a motorhome, the water's running down your walls. Things have got to be, leak proof. Therefore, they're a little more airproof. So people in RVs, they want to bring in outside combustion air for sure. It helps regulate the pressure. It gives the stove enough oxygen to burn, and you'll have a better experience with the stove. Another reason to use the insulated pipe being that it holds the draft. If we talk about how this stove works, there's an air inlet on this side and an air inlet on that side. They both blow into the center pile of pellets. Then we have small tubes that guide the air in that fire pot in different directions to help stir the air and help blow some of the ash out. Well, in order for it to suck air in and blow on those pellets, it has to be able to draft out this way. So you have to have an insulated stovepipe. Sorry about all the noise here. We've got chops working, so we're trying to be as quiet as possible out here. But once again, this is a prototype model. We have beat this thing up, picked it up, dropped it. We've had it UL safety tested, which they do just about anything that you think that you could do wrong to this stove to make sure it's safe. You've got 12-inch clearance for combustibles all the way around the stove, 2-inch clearance for combustibles on your 4-inch insulated 6-inch outside diameter Class A chimney pipe, which means that you have to cut a 10-inch hole in your ceiling when you go to install. That gives you 2 inches around that 6-inch outside diameter. And then you'll have the correct safe install for your scenario. Dusty with Flame Innovation. Thanks for watching.